to finish the day's action on court. And as I was saying, big wins in the first two for Egypt, but put in their place the last two games, losing by 34 to Nigeria and then yesterday by 32 to Senegal. Mozambique disappointing in defeat to Nigeria after arriving late for the tournament on game day one, then impressed in defeat as they pushed defending champions Senegal in game two, and they've since won back-to-back games by 41 against Guinea and yesterday by 10 over DR Congo. Teresa, both teams already into the quarterfinals. The winner of this will avoid Group A winners Angola, but still going to face Mali in the next round. I'm not sure that's any better, is it?
I don't think it's any better, especially because Mali is backed up with a great home crowd. Angola has been playing so far a very balanced game as well, even though I think Mali has a bit more athleticism, and I would love to see Angola and Mali in the finals, because it will be quite interesting to see who would have grabbed the second game win between these two teams. But as you just said, these two teams playing for the third, fourth ranking in the group, and I'm not pretty sure what are the intentions of both coaches, who they want to face, but hopefully we will see just the game with the full intention, full intensity, and both teams are here to grab the win in today's game. It's going to be interesting to see, because we see Egypt's game is based on just the fast breaks. They basically, anytime they steal the ball or grab a quick rebound, they just push the ball and playing unorganized fast break, unorganized offense. Instead of Cameroon is a little bit more organized and has a good discipline within the roster.
The two sets of players introduced, and we'll pause for a few moments now for the two national anthems, Mozambique and Egypt.
Thank you. Now, national anthem of Mozambique. Thank you. Good game.
We're approaching the end of the group stage here at the FIBA Women's AfroBasket 2017. And next up, a game that will have a direct impact on the quarterfinals lineup. The winner finishes third in Group B. The loser finishes fourth and will play the winners of Group A. And former Czech international Teresa Brantlova alongside me, Tim Long, for this one, as we see our three female referees for this second day on court, or second game on court today, I should say. And Teresa, third place on the line, but also We talked about the matchups, not much difference in who you're going to face. Vital for confidence, though, a boost heading into the quarterfinals with that winning momentum.
Absolutely. I would love to see Mozambique taking on Angola, to be honest, because I think they matched them up pretty well. But really, as we mentioned before, you can't really choose because Angola and Mali are such strong teams at this championship, and they have proven that the previous days here in Bamako. And the momentum could definitely play a key role because it's always good to come to next game with a winning mental statement. But as I just say, I think that both teams are fully aware of the power of these two big teams.
We see the Mozambique roster there. Annabella Cossa, a key player at number 7, has averaged over 10 points per game and team highs of 5.3 assists, 1.8 steals. And Leah Dong, the number 11 at power forward, also a key player. We'll have a closer look at her in just a few seconds. And Adelia Mafanella also close to double figures and 7 rebounds, 1.5 steals per game.
Yeah, I was really impressed yesterday from that backcourt of Mozambique's team, Annabella Cossa and Elizabeth Pereira. I think they've done a great job in defense, trying to increase the pressure on the short guards of DR Congo's team. And we will probably see it today again. And it's going to be very important for Mozambique to communicate because Egypt's style game is just to grab a quick ball and run any offense possible. They don't really play the organized offense. So that's why I think it will be really key factor for Mozambique to communicate well in transition defense.
We should get a look at the Egypt roster. In fact, we'll see their starting 5 here. Soraya Dekadi has been a key player for them, although not quite as impressive as she was all the way back on game day 1 when she had 33. Menatella Awad, the captain, averaging close to 13 points per game, and Mai Halwa averaging over 8 rebounds per game, all 3 of them in that starting 5.
Yeah, we know that Soraya Dekadi really is not contributing as much by points last 3 games, but she's definitely one of the key players because she's organizing her teammates in that unorganized offense, let's say. But each of the Egyptian players exactly know what is their role in this team, and that's what we witnessed the games before. Opposite way, on the Mozambique side, we see Leila Dong, which is leading her team in rebounds and also in points, averaging 16 points per game. She's just an incredible, strong power forward with an aggressive one-on-one, and that could be another factor for Egypt to struggle with to defend. But let's see, because the game is open, and we will see who's going to grab that 3rd place in the group.
We see the Mozambique bench there, and indeed Leah Dong's developing one of the most impressive stat lines in the competition so far. Over 16 points, 8.5 boards and close to 2 steals per game, shooting 50% from the floor as well. As far as Egypt's key player, Soraya Dekadi, 33 points on game day 1, but just 32 points since then, over 3 games combined, and these 2 will be key for whoever's going to win this game.
Absolutely. I think for Mozambique team, they have enough short, athletic players to guard Soraya Dekadi, but to be honest, I've seen loads of unexpected movement from this player, and whoever's gonna guard her needs to be fully concentrated every second of the game, because if you give Dekadi even a second free time, she's gonna use it. Opposite way, Leila Dong, as already mentioned, she's such strong power forward, and I don't really see who's gonna guard her, but I would say that Helva Mai, who's been contributing such well for Egyptian team as well, will probably face her and guard her in this game. They really need to play her without she receives the ball.
There we go then, the 5th and final group stage game of the Women's AfroBasket 2017 for these 2 quarter-finals bound nations, both 2-2 in Group B. Now it's about building momentum as we move towards the knockout rounds. Halwa for 3 early on, off the mark. Offensive rebound underneath from the captain, Menatella Awad. She's averaging 12.8 points, over 5 rebounds and 2 steals a game.
And we can see straight zone defense from Egypt. They're playing 2-3 zone, so they're matching the guards of Mozambique's team.
Kosa's bounce pass was to nobody but Soraya. Soraya looking on to Al-Shawe. Al-Shawe spots a gap and bursts through it, can't flip it up and in. Mukubakin, another talented young player, just 20, MVP in the Mozambique League this year. Her first senior international tournament, she clings on to it. Kosa. Here is Mukubakin, left unguarded on the perimeter and makes them pay.
Yeah, and that's important to hit a long distance shot early in the game against the zone defense, because as I already mentioned in games before, it's gonna give you the space down under the paint for your bigs, because the defense has to contest the shots.
Soraya to Halwa on the strike, going up against Seda. 3-point shot to answer back at the other end. Rima Sama from a couple of feet back beyond the arc.
I think Sama is a bit maybe mad that we haven't mentioned her name at the beginning of the game, because she has really done a great performance in yesterday's game against Senegal, and she's one of the guards in a couple with Degadi that could really kill Mozambique's transition defense.
Good for Soraya Dekadi to get an early score as well after a couple of disappointing shooting games. She was 3 of 10 from the field yesterday, not too bad, but certainly nothing on her Game 1 performance where she was 6 of 11 from downtown. And there's Dong firing it in towards Mafanella, and it's tipped away, still Mozambique ball.
It's important Mozambique doesn't double guess their passes, because against the zone it must be just a quick passes. If you start to double guess, the defense has enough time to recover.
3-point shot short this time, but it turned into an assist as Mafanella puts it in. Must admit, Theresa, I'm not sure if you get an assist for that. Hugely fortunate.
I think you should, but who knows.
Awad for the second time gets free underneath to finish.
Yeah, now Mukubakin again hasn't been on the split line to help for this cut through the middle of the court.
Kosa across to Mukubakin for 3, not this time. Rebound Soraya. Down the floor it goes to Rima Sama. Aggressive offense from her, only one thought in mind, and she gets contact along the way.
Yeah, and that's what we mentioned at the beginning of the game, that it's going to be important for Mozambique team to communicate in their transition defense. Now we could see that Leila Ndong has been talking to her teammate, but it's a little bit too late. They have to talk early in that transition defense to make sure that everyone match up one player or just plays the space if there's an overloading situation.
Certainly looking at form and also looking at history, you would put Mozambique down as favourites for this one, but it's Egypt who've made the more positive start, leading by 5. Egypt coming in off back-to-back defeats, Mozambique coming in off back-to-back wins in this group. Soraya down court again, the freedom of the Palais des Sports to finish.
That Mozambique's offense against that zone defense is very static, and it just gives the Egypt enough time to make one extra step to steal the ball like this, what we've just seen. Mozambique needs to make sure that they send at least one guard through the zone defense to overload the situation on one side, and then might have a look on the skip to the weak side as well if they're looking for the long distance shot. But you know, it's important that they play space and they move in there a little bit offensively.
3-point shot falls for Annabella Kosa. We've seen 3 from downtown combined in the opening 4 minutes. That's one way to get the score with the static offense, the outside shot.
Yeah, that's one way, but you can't really rely on that. You're going to be so successful from long distance shots unless you are Angolan team, who's averaging almost 50% from that line so far this tournament.
An incredible performance from them last night. And another big come from behind win. 4-0 and sealing top spot in the other group. So the losers of this one will face them in the quarterfinals. Dong, not really been involved yet, but she is now.
It's very important timing as well against the zone. The timing of a cut when one player in a low blow gets the position.
Rima Sama, 4-point game. Menatella Awad, she's got 4 already, so has Soraya Dekadi. She'll take on the 3 this time and gets it to go. Well, this is the kind of performance we saw from her in the first half of game 1.
Yeah, that's that 1 second she needs to be open for that shot, and she's just gonna punish it. She has any hesitation. Should I take that shot or not? If you give her 1 second, she's gonna take it.
Rima Sama dribbling through a gap, going high off the window. 19 points in just over 5 minutes for Egypt. They're certainly capable of scoring big. They averaged 104 over the first 2 games. Crosser onto Mukubakin and then put it by Dong, short. A chance to run the floor again. Menatella Awad, nobody closes her down, so she takes on the 3 and misses. Mukubakin, Kossa. Mafanella receives the ball in the high post onto Mukubakin, who's hit a 3 from that spot, but onto the corner to Kossa. The pass off the mark, the turnover again.
It's been an interesting fact right now what I've seen that Dekadi Soraya, she was basically making her hair all the offense of Mozambique now for like 20 seconds, and Mozambique didn't even move, so she didn't need to be involved in the defense. No one was really dangerous, and that should not happen pretty much.
Let's see if coach Nasser Salah can sort it out in the timeout. Mozambique trail by 9. Egypt 19, Mozambique 10 with 4 minutes to play in the first. What a start from Soraya Dekadi, 7 points, 3 of 3 from the field. And a few steals to add to that stat line, I'm sure, as well. She hit 5 3-pointers in the first half of game 1. We've seen nothing like that from her since, although you can quite clearly see that the talent and the intelligence is there. And we're seeing it come to the fore more here in game 5.
Yeah, and Soraya Dekadi is well supported with Rima Osama and Abad as well. This is such power 3 players of Egypt. Pointing-wise, they always score the points in the game. Abad has scored 13 points in yesterday's game. Dekadi 33 in the first game. Reem is always the second best shooter of the team. Such powerful 3 players together for the Egypt team.
Osama and Awad both on 6, just 1 behind Soraya so far. Here's Maihalwa. Now Soraya Dekadi. Looking to put the moves on the Mozambique defense. Rima Sama up against the much taller Dong. And she'll get 2 free throws.
Yeah, Dong doesn't believe now that a foul has been fouled, but she hasn't been on time in the position. You have to be in front of the player completely with your hands up to show the officials that there is no way you fouling the shooter, but this hasn't been this case.
A double-digit lead for Egypt after 6 and a bit minutes. And 8 points now for Rima Sama to lead the way in scoring. Mukubakin on by Seda, across to the far side, Mafanella. Kossa puts the ball on the floor and steps on the line, turns it over. Passing towards Rima Sama. Looks back out. Here's Abdel Fattah, who's just checked in. Rima Sama for three. Got it! What a first quarter for her. 11 points already.
That's just incredible. Another incredible shooter in the team. And, you know, it's not just that she shoots a long-distance shot. She's also very brave for the penetration. She doesn't mind if there are big players down waiting for that block. She just goes and draws the fouls.
Mozambique responded with a two quickly at the other end, with Egypt not able to get back after that three-pointer. Here's Soraya Dekadi. Lost it, but recovers at centre court, although that'll be a shot clock violation. Rima Sama already over her tournament average after about 7 minutes of this game. Mafanella to Dong, who drives the baseline this time. Strong move and contact along the way.
That's her typical move of Leila Dong from Mozambique. She has been doing it all tournament. She just receives the ball, look at the rim, and go into the strong penetration.
Dong completes the three-point play. It's a 9-point game. Egypt looking to extend it back to double figures as Soraya goes on a meandering run. Can't finish at the basket though. Still Egypt ball. Soraya trapped in the corner, found her way out of the double team. Halwa free, mid-range, knocks it down.
Well, there has been a great smart play now from Dekadi. She knew that two defender drop on her, so easy play. And on the other side, we introduced Tamara Sheda now. Her high advantage in this game is quite obvious, and Mozambique team needs to use her in a low position.
Soraya puts the ball on the floor away from Muku Bakin and puts it into the basket. She's come to play today. Muku Bakin, well, faked herself. Soraya down the floor, should be an easy two for Ehab. 30 points in less than 9 minutes for Egypt.
That's what Egypt is good at. They do sit in that zone defense and steal the ball or grab a quick rebound. And we see a great timing from players of Egypt just to run a quick break.
Flat shot from Seda at the other end. Final minute of the first. 30-17 is the score. Soraya Dekadi back out to Halwa. Halwa a bit of space to drive into. Can't get the angles right.
This is that unorganized offense from Egyptian team. Just one player has the ball and trying to play 1-1. If there is a good defense, they just kick the ball. Another penetration. That's basically a game plan of this team.
A series of changes coming for Egypt. We've got 33 seconds remaining of the first. Just a correction to the score at the bottom of your picture. It's 30-17. Abdel Fattah and then Ehab. Ehab into the foul line, trying to return it, but well stationed was Seda to interrupt, but the creators of their own downfall there, Mozambique. Basket for Sharif. Final 10 seconds now. Dong arriving with purpose and puts it in.
That's the timing I spoke about earlier. How such important it is when Seda has received the ball. That's the time when you have to cut, and Leila is really good at it in this tournament.
13-point game at the end of the first. Egypt have turned on the offensive firepower again, as they did earlier in the tournament. 11 points for Osama already, 9 for Soraya Dekadi, and at the end of one, they lead Mozambique 32-19. So 32-19, the Egyptian lead. And we see some of the shooting stats very impressive from Egypt. 77% inside, 3 of 6 from downtown as well. And it's not bad for Mozambique, is it? But they have still been blown away so far, allowing 32 points in the first 10 minutes. The percentages for Mozambique are not bad, but you can see that Egypt have taken way more shots, and that's because they've come up with all of those steals.
Exactly. That's because they don't really play a shot clock. They just, anytime they have a chance, they just go and attack the basket. And as you just said, most of their offense has been a steal and quick transition. And other than that, when they played against a set defense of Mozambique, they basically were really successful from three-point line as well. So that's why the Egypt team has taken so many possessions so far.
We start with Mozambique down 13 in the second quarter. Ball on the floor here by Lavangan. And another turnover. Another young player coming into the fray, just 19. Lavangan, her first action of this game.
And we see that the coach of Egyptian team is doing a pretty decent job again, giving a rotation into his bench, giving minutes to his players, because he knows that he will need those key players as Delgadi, Samarim and the others for the game to the knockout stage.
Pass too high that time for Sharif, so a turnover from Egypt as well. Lavangan on to Massing. Lavangan, Setter setting a screen, back out, Massing, to the corner it goes, Ventura. Can't hit the three, offensive board Setter, and she puts it back in. The two benches facing off against each other here at the start of the second. Sharif. Del Fattah back to Sharif, forces it into the hoop. A long pass all the way down the floor, and Egypt not back on defense, and that leads to the simple two for Setter.
It's nice to see your biggest player to be the first in a fast break. That shows some effort and desire.
Sharif across to Ehab. Ehab dancing through the defense, flips it up and in.
And again, Mozambique defense is quite not set because it's too easy. There are too many spaces that Egyptian players could penetrate to.
From the edge of the paint, Setter with another one. Ehab to Sharif. Ehab again, square to Abdel Fattah. Abdel Fattah, spin move in towards the edge of the paint. Not too far off with his shot. Rebound Setter. Massing down the floor to Ventura. Gets another good look for three. She's hit a few at this tournament, but missed two in a row here at the start of the second. Offensive rebound Setter this time, and that one will fall for Lavangan.
It seems those cuts seems to be working for Mozambique team. While one of their players receives the ball in a low position. And they should absolutely stick to that.
They've reduced it to a single-digit game here. And a travel called as well on Azra Bakra, so a chance for Mozambique to close the gap a little bit further. Setter it was who was getting in the way, and she's had an impact at the start of this second quarter.
Yeah, that's been a time when Mozambique team played smart because they know that it's their big advantage of Tamara Seda down under the rim. No one really can guard her from Egyptian team, and just to deliver her the ball is the best decision for Mozambique at this moment.
Drive down the baseline. Simple enough footwork in the end from Lavangan.
I think we've seen already such more intensive games at this tournament that the one we're watching right now. I'm not pretty sure who wants to still play who in that knockout stage because both teams have no intensity at all, and it seems like they're just playing a practice game to me.
little intensity, but unfortunately we do have an injury. A concern here for Mozambique, and that's the last thing that these two teams want, of course, both heading into the quarter-finals, is to lose any players for the knockout stages. Amelia Massing, who's down hurt at the moment.
Yeah, this is it's like a 5th day of the games for every team, and it comes to the stage when all 5 games is accumulating in the bodies of players, and every player who steps on the court today, no matter in which game, they have to be fully concentrated, because it's quite easy to grab that injury when you have 5 games in 6 days. There's quite a big amount of games, and that's why we see, and we've seen in the previous game as well, that the coaches are using their rotations, because if that's the game where you don't play basically for nothing, there's no reason to keep your key players again on the court for 30 minutes and risk their injuries.
Ventura just had a 3rd open look in this quarter and threw it a couple of feet short of the basket. It's not happened for her so far. Abdel Gawad to Abdel Fattah. Abdel Fattah on to Al Shawe. Al Shawe back out. Ventura trying to make amends with some tenacious defense. Right at the end of the shot clock, just wide of the mark from Al Shawe. Straight away a turnover, and a long 3 from Abdel Gawad.
I just don't want to see this game to be a complete blowout or disrespect to this championship. I hope that both teams are going to start to play a bit with intensity and a bit with more effort.
It's being played at walking pace at the moment. There's sort of a half-hearted jog from Abdel Fattah on that closeout of the 3-point shooter.
Yeah, we might well witness a walking game today, as you just mentioned, because these past couple of possessions, I don't think I've seen more than 2 players to even run on the court.
You want them to respect the integrity of the competition, but at the same time you can understand it. They're both already into the quarterfinals. They both perhaps either aren't bothered about winning because they don't want to face the hosts in this raucous and rowdy atmosphere, and they don't want to pick up injuries as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's hard to judge because we really don't know what are the game plans for each team. We don't see into their heads as well. But based on what we're seeing so far, we can see that no one really wants to play today, this game.
Lavangan, Ukubaking. What we have at the moment as well is the 2 benches on the floor, so you would expect, if anything, more intensity from them, or at least there's not the entire benches, but a lot of bench players out there. We've still not really seen it.
Yeah, and we even see that Egypt has committed only 1 team foul, Mozambique 0. That just tells us that there's no any aggressivity in defense, and that's what we see. They're just letting each other play whatever they find on the court.
3-point shot short from Al Shawe. That should be a simple 2 for Lavangan. Nobody even trying to get back.
I was just now about to say that Lavangan was about to not to take this fast break. There was no one on the offensive half, and she was doubting herself, should I finish it or not? That just tells us that Mozambique doesn't want to really win in this game.
Soraya Dekani from way beyond the setting sun. Well, she's played with a bit of an intensity when she's been in the game, at least.
Yeah, but I think I've just seen that she has apologized to coach for that shot, which is just hope it was an apology for that I made that shot.
It was from way over there on the sideline, a couple of yards back beyond the perimeter. There was no intent to move from any of the rest of the Egyptian defense, so she just thought, well, I'm going to throw this one up and in, and she's found the kind of range she had in game 1.
Yeah, I think people just stay and watch this game just from the point of view that they will probably see loads of unbelievable situations in this game when no one really wants to play. So that's definitely good invitation for people to stay by this game and watch, even though there's no intensity, no offense, no organization, discipline, nothing. But you will probably see really unbelievable things.
Moyanga hits that one. And anyone who hits a basket's almost a little bit apologetic about it at the moment.
Yeah, there's been now 2 completely free Mozambique players open under the rim, and Okabakin didn't really pass them the ball. Didn't want to score that basket.
Soraya Dekadi perhaps will want to have a big game more than anyone else on court, because she's had a couple that haven't quite been as good, so she'll want to find her confidence and shooting range again, and she's certainly done that so far, although turns it over on this possession. Mukubakin, 3-point shot for her.
I can even see it, like Egyptian team is walking right now. So we see a bit slight effort from Mozambique, but all the players are even smiling because they know that this game no one wants to win. No one wants to really play those 2 teams, but I think no one wants to face Mali's team at the moment, the home team, with the crowd behind their back.
Soraya Dekadi was called for a double dribble the last time, so back-to-back turnovers for her, and Ventura gets one to go finally from downtown. Halwa. Abdel Fattah. Across to Soraya, who was just about watching the pass come her way. Abdel Fattah to Mai Halwa. And a shot clock violation. Nobody even looked, nobody seemed to even care.
I think the most important part of this game was the first minute of the game, when players and coaches try to convince the crowd, try to convince everyone that they're here to play this game. But since I would say the second quarter came on, no one wants to win this game, and so definitely we're not now witnessing one of the best games to watch, but for sure one of the most awkward games, I would say, at this championship right now.
It really is incredible to watch. The distinct lack of any intensity or real will to win. They're just going through the motions.
I think they should have just set the deal before the game and say, look, let's just leave this score even, and whoever is in what position now, that team's gonna face the other team in the knockout stage, because this is no point. This is a little bit disrespect to basketball, but I understand that both teams have their strategy who they want to play in the knockout stage, but this is quite incredible for both teams to see with what not intensity, not effort, not willing to win this game we're seeing right now.
You were saying that Mozambique could match up perhaps a little bit better against Angola, so it's the loser who faces Angola. They don't look like they want to win, and Egypt look like they'd rather face Angola as well. It's a little bit odd that we've got 2 teams who seemingly would rather face the group winners of the other group, but the team in second place is the host Mali, who've been playing really hard, getting all the 50-50s with the officials and playing in the big atmosphere as well, so understandable that these 2 would want to avoid the hosts.
That has been a big change of intensity defense of Egyptian team.
Flick of a switch as they turn it on a little bit. 3 seconds to go on the shot clock as the foul goes on Soraya. Well, we're already into the quarterfinals, Teresa, so maybe we should just rest our voices a little bit.
Yeah, that would have been good, because seriously, to watch this game, it's just, I kind of inside feel a bit mad, because I love basketball, and seeing these type of games, it just hurts my eyes, to be honest.
It's a quarter that's at least given us plenty to talk about.
Yeah, we could have talked about loads of skill and fundamental skills stuff on from both teams, but I don't really see a point, because both teams are just making intentional mistakes on the court. So I'm pretty sure the people who's watching, they see it, that these mistakes again, there's been a half-court violation. You know, they don't even try to cross the court in a 8 seconds violation. It's just a game full of mistakes right now, and I really want to see by the end of this game the statistic of turnovers of each team, because I'm a little bit afraid that it's going to break the record per one game.
Mukubakin out to Alar, Ventura. Final seconds of the first half here.
Again, it's just a walking from both
Moyang is
teams.
wide open, doesn't want to take the shot.
No one wants to grab the win in this game, or no one wants to really play this game, I would say. Really, it would have been better for basketball if they would have just made the deal before the game and talked to commissaries that they don't want to get on the court.
A little bit of discontent from the fans that have turned up for this second game of the tournament, second game of the day rather, as well. Sarai will just dribble it out right at the end of the second quarter, and thankfully that's over. Unfortunately, we've got another 2 quarters to come, because there's been no intensity, no will to win between these two. It is Egypt who've got their noses in front, but clearly don't want to win to go and face Mali in the quarterfinals. At half-time, Egypt 44, Mozambique 38.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you just said about the fans. They came here to watch a basketball, and now while there's been a whistle to finish this first half, we could see and we could hear the crowd kind of like a booing as well, because they don't like this game at all. They came here to watch basketball, not just a walking game full of mistakes.
Egypt do have 2 players in double figures, but all of that was when they were playing with a bit of intensity in the first quarter. Number 8, Sarai Dakani leading the way with 12, 11 points for Remo Sama, as we see some of the statistics here. And I'm sure there's been more turnovers than that from Egypt. But at half-time, it's Egypt 44, Mozambique 38. Welcome back to the Palais des Sports in Bamako, Mali. The second game out of 6 on court on the final game day of the group stage here at the Women's AfroBasket 2017. And we're seeing something quite remarkable, at least we did in the second quarter. What started as a game in the first became a training session and then became an embarrassment by the end of the first half. The two teams who quite clearly both don't want to win, because the winners would face the host Mali in the quarterfinals. It's not much easier, if any easier, for the losers, who would face the undefeated winners of the other group, Angola. But clearly both have their minds made up that they would rather face Angola than the host Mali. And we do understand that at half-time there has been a message from FIBA to both sets of coaching staff that what we saw in the second quarter, Teresa, just cannot continue.
I just hope that it won't continue, because it's a bit disgrace of basketball and of this championship as well. So I'm just hoping that the coaches will change their approach, as FIBA has warned them that would be quite good for basketball in this tournament and both teams just to start to play.
We did wonder if Egypt would want to move into the quarterfinals with a winning momentum, having lost their last 2 games after winning their first 2, and they started very brightly. 32 points for them in the first quarter, but tagged on just 12 in the second. They've got 2 players in double figures, in Soraya Dekadi with 12 and Rima Sama with 11. Mozambique have 10 points from Tamara Seda, who did most of her scoring in the second quarter. But you know, the remarkable thing is both teams are shooting around 64% from the field when they've wanted to shoot.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting fact, and we've seen that some of the players has been apologizing for making those shots. So you know, it could quite negatively shows in that knockout stage when this is happening in this game, because it's always good to be in the rhythm, and if you self-disgrace ourselves for that making shots, it could give you a bad momentum in the further games.
We see plenty of discussion going on between various officials now, and there's a bit of disbelief in the crowd, the fans that have turned up to watch this early game. And there was a few boos in the first half because the players quite clearly don't want to play in this one, and have had the instructions from their coaching staff not to try almost not to win the game. And we're seeing shot clock violation after shot clock violation, nobody wanting to take even an open shot, and then nobody wanting to take a shot at the end of the second quarter. And quite clearly it seems that message is being relayed to the 2 locker rooms and now to the officials that this has to be clamped down on and cannot continue.
Yeah, I've never really experienced this situation where we've seen the second quarter of this game. I actually have heard, I haven't been by, but I've heard and I've seen it from the later time, that there has been a second division in one league, and there's been even teams scoring their own baskets like into their score, so they just extended the lead of the opponents, which was a bit too much comedy, and there has had consequences after that. There's been one coach suspended for that. It's been managed quite well, because that just can't happen to basketball, that we see this comedy, no matter what the real intentions are. You here to play, you here to represent the country, and I'm definitely not a fan of witnessing this type of basketball, this type of games.
It's been bad, but thankfully we've not seen that level of disrepute yet in terms of scoring into your own basket. And we're seeing some of the clear unwillingness to do anything here from the 2 sets of players, and that was right at the end of the second quarter, not wanting to take a shot, Egypt. And Soraya Dekadi actually apologised for a long 3 earlier in the quarter.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what's going to be the outcome of this discussion between commissioner, both coaches, and all 3 referees. I don't think that has pretty much a solution unless there will be some known consequences if this situation is going to continue.
You talked about the situation in a domestic second-tier matchup, Teresa, but you've never seen anything like this at this level.
No, never. I have witnessed this at this level, and I really, believe me, I've experienced the same situations of teams. But then, you know, even coaches just couldn't look at it, and they felt that it is a disgrace to basketball and to big tournaments. Yeah, now we see that Delgatti has apologized for that, making long three. That wasn't a game plan for sure. But at this level, I think all nations knows what privilege is to be at the international level representing your country. And no matter what the outcome's going to be, you know, I'm quite surprised because Angola and Mali is very strong teams at this tournament, and I don't want to predict, but it's most likely both teams gonna lose this knockout stage, even though I don't want to say that 100% because in basketball it can happen anything. But we see that Mozambique is having a chance to compete with Angola better than with Malian team. So I think that's why they don't want to win this game, because it would put them on Mali's opponent in the knockout stage. But let's see, it's going to be very interesting to see what the outcome is going to be like now.
We saw a replay of Sarai Delgatti hitting that long three and then apologising to the Egyptian bench. We've just seen an off-picture walk onto the floor and hit a couple of shots, one from downtown in quick succession. Here's the one she apologised for again. But she obviously wants to shoot a bit. She's just come out while the game's been stopped and thrown up a couple and put them both in. And you do perhaps feel for the players a little bit if it's a message that's come entirely from the coaching staff.
Yeah, as a player, you can maybe take that responsibility and play, but you're risking that you will never ever be in a national team again representing your country. So it's quite an awkward situation. Usually you're following the instruction of the coaching staff, and in this tournament you have to be on the same page. So I don't see any player to sabotage the coach's instructions. So as I just said, will be interesting to see the face of the second half.
We're about to find out, because the two sets of players are ready to make their way back out onto the court. Mozambique have their starting five for the second half out there, and Egypt just rising up off the bench now and getting ready. So let's see what happens here. Start of the third quarter. Egypt will start with the ball. It's a half-time interval that's lasted probably double what we would usually expect because of the message that's had to be conveyed from FIBA and the various officials to the benches and the coaches and the players. And straight away we see a score at the start of the third. Mukubakin to Ventura. Hala. Then it goes to the foul line. Back out, Mukubakin. Moyanga.
It's quite obvious that it's not going to be much changes seen in this half. This first minute of the game is showing us that it's just going to be unenjoyable basketball right now to watch.
Ventura. Mukubakin across to the far side, into the corner. Look at the basket, ball on the floor and a trip. Of course, that's one of the things that, as well as not wanting to win the game and face the host Mali, that's one of the things they're trying to avoid is bumps and bruises and injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we will see a bit more intensity in this half because the players at this level are able to manage to make the game look like you're putting the effort in it. But still, you know, I'm pretty much sure that, look, these airball included. I've never seen number 14, Mafanela Ardelia. She's been quite big a player for her team to shot this airball. So they will try to make it look that it's an interesting game. But I think the set and tone of this game has been already decided in the second quarter.
An air ball free throw and a flat free throw that sort of comes back to haunt them because Egypt let them grab the offensive rebound. Soraya Dekadi. Shawe, here's Halwa, mid-ranger. Doesn't touch the rim, but it's put back up and in.
There's been a bit of volleyball now we witnessed in the offensive rebound.
Well, there is a distinct improvement, which wasn't hard from the second quarter, because at least we're seeing some shots now.
They're about intentionally missed shots, and that doesn't really change anything. So I'm not pretty sure what was the discussion between the commissioner, referees, and both coaches. But we see the intensity is a bit higher, but you know, players know how to intentionally miss the shots, except for Delgado, who has made that shot and apologized for.
A timeout called, only a minute and a half. We're seeing a replay of that air ball free throw, which was nowhere near. And then some perhaps acting of miscommunication.
Yeah, I think there should be some scouts in here now for future creator performances or ambitions, because we will see now how much the players are able to act at this game. As I already said, it will be a good invitation for people to stay and watch this game, because really they will probably see a good comedy. And, it looks like even at the beginning of this third quarter.
It's something unique, that's for sure. You've played all over the world for a long time and not seen anything at this level like this.
No, not like this. Because by the end, coaches just realized that it's all about the basketball. There's many people watching all around the world as well, and I don't think there are any positives for any of the team play like that.
Soraya Dekadi down the floor, moved on to Mai Halwa. In the paint, flicked up off the mark, offensive rebound, turn around off the mark again. Mukubakin. Hala to the corner to Mafanella.
Again, walking from Egyptian team in defense.
There's Ventura off the top of the backboard. It's a different type of embarrassment, and it remains a disgrace. A change in style, but not a change in attitude. Howard misses. That one's put back up and in, and Egypt lead by 12.
So I can see the intensity now from Mozambique team defensively, but complete disgrace offensively. So that should have been another air ball.
2 layups blown, unguarded. Yeah. Underneath from Mafanella, who's previously been shooting 47% from the field.
Exactly, that's what we spoke about, that this player never hit the air ball from free throw or shoot that bad as we've just seeing right now.
Well, you certainly can't see Mozambique making up a 12-point gap over the next 17 minutes, so it does look as like it's going to be Mozambique facing off against Angola in the quarterfinals. Egypt against Mali.
I'm sorry.
Really didn't want.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm smiling and laughing, and I'm sure people can hear that. But it's just ridiculous to see how badly the Mozambique plays offensively right now, and it was just a pass to the defensive player.
Mukubakin to Ventura. Mafanella, unguarded corner of the paint. That one was at least closer. Soraya Dekadi. 3-point shot for Egypt, and they get it to go with Al Shawe. Maybe they realise now that they're so far in front, Mozambique are not going to catch them, so they may as well put a few in.
I was about to say that when it gets to the point that the game's going to be by 20, 30 points, I'm pretty sure we will see some offensive and defensive on a full speed in this game, because it won't hurt them if they just reduce the gap from 20 to 18 or to 10. but I'm pretty sure we won't see any closer game. And Egypt probably has just realized that there's no way Mozambique with this type of playing offense will ever go into the leading in this game. So I think Egypt just had enough of this acting, and I think they will now start to play offense.
Soraya puts the ball on the floor and puts it in the basket. She'll benefit from padding out her stat line more after a couple of more disappointing displays.
I think now Mozambique should show us some offense at least, because really it won't hurt anyone to reduce this margin in the score right now. So that would have been, yeah, I think maybe that moment is right now, and I'm pretty sure when the margin gets closer to 10, again we will see from Mozambique no intention to score a basket.
Midway point of the third quarter, Egypt by 17.
I think it will be tough to say, and not really good for me to say that Egypt has a little bit strategically didn't manage this game, because they let Mozambique control who's gonna lead the first half of the game. Because if they would have managed that from first minute of the game and they've been in a position down, then it could have played in their favor. But it's just terrible to say in this game, and my mouth hurts saying it, but you know, unfortunately Mozambique has managed that better, and they were down in the score when it got into that terrible situation, completely disgracing the basketball what we've just witnessed the second quarter.
4 minutes and 17 to go in the third. The lead has been stretched to 21. And that looks like it will certainly be enough to give Egypt the win, even at this stage with 14 minutes to play. They're making sure that this will improve now for the final 14 minutes, I think.
I think it will improve definitely from the point of Egypt team, because now they have nothing to lose anymore. We know that Mozambique won't play good enough offensively to reduce that margin, and Egypt just now has decided to finally play offense, even though we're witnessing that there's no more will in defense, because it plays in their favor if Mozambique scores some points. It's just, I don't know, I'm a little bit disappointed really from this game and these strategies.
This looks like my shooting. Unbelievable. Certainly the message has been passed along again that this can't continue, despite the best efforts of the players to make it look like they were at least trying to shoot. There'll be no Oscars awarded for the acting.
Exactly, but most of the people involved in here, not as spectators but as workers and stuff, they do at least a little bit understand basketball, and it's quite obvious that Mozambique's just making themselves disrespecting, because they are way more capable. They have a way better ability to play offensively than what they've just showing.
Let's see what we have off the back of that timeout. Mukubakin, Soraya. She's been playing harder than anyone else. It's not been hard.
Yeah, because even for a player with big basketball heart, it's hard to get into this situation. You know, you're kind of fighting inside of yourself, because you know really well that that's a disgrace, but you know you have to follow the instructions from the coach, and that's one fact. And we see that Delgade, she really do fight inside of her, because every game she's been here at, she played full speed, full intensity, and she wanted to win. So I'm pretty sure that must have been a quite mini war inside of her now with the values of a basketballer.
Kossa puts it in to reduce the deficit to 19. With this kind of margin now, we may as well see both sets of players trying to at least bring a respectable level of intensity.
I'm pretty sure Mozambique's going to manage that margin in a score. So as I just said, they will attack the basket a couple times to show that they still know how to play basketball, but they will control that they're going to lose this game.
Turn straight back over to Akila Mukubakin. Fired into Dong. Dong, ball on the floor, attacking the basket, will go to the line for two. We'll see what her foul shots are like. There is, of course, the option and the possibility of the governing body punishing the two nations. We've seen that before in this sport and other sports for trying not to win. Thankfully, it seems Dong is trying to hit her free throws now. We saw an air ball from the foul line a few minutes ago. 17-point game, 13 minutes to play. Howard.
It's a zone defense from the Mozambique team right now.
Dong blocking off. There's some intensity there as she catches Al Shawe in the face.
Again, no intention from the Mozambique team to push the ball, to play fast, to possibly score before Egyptian defense sets up.
Go back to Muku Bakin. Kosa steps back to take on the two and backs it in. I wonder if she meant to.
Only she knows. She's quite a decent player for this team, and she's definitely one of the key players with Laya Dong. They all know that they're still down by 15 points.
So Soraya Dekadi out to Halwa for three. "15 points difference now. Mozambique have pulled it back by about 6. And they have the chance to make it a little bit closer now, so that'll be interesting to see what happens if it does get closer.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if I was right saying that they will manage this margin and manage that they lose the game.
Mukubakin to Halar. Kosa. Moyanga. Mukubakin. Norali. Halwa.
We could witness in this game and see that we will probably see some defense now from Mozambique's team, because it's no matter if they play good or bad defense now, they could play good defense because they are still down. What we probably won't see is a good offense from Mozambique's team right now, because they don't want to score.
Rima Sommer had a good open look for 3. She hit one earlier in the game, but doesn't want to take this one. Halwa, intercepted by Dong, batted back to Halwa, who didn't really want it. Nobody wants to go down on the deck and put their body on the line. Halar. Kosa. Final minute of the third quarter. After a bit of a hesitation, 3-point shot from Halar, and the offensive rebound put in. 13 points the difference now. Abdel Fattah, bounce pass, and the score for Shel Sharway. Mukubakin across to Kosa, into Dong in the low post.
We see that the aggressivity of Egyptian defense is decreasing by the meters closer to the basket. So they are quite intensive by the half court, but as close as they get into the basket, they just basically stay very statically in defense.
End of the third quarter, Egypt still with a double-digit advantage, although Mozambique have closed the gap from 21. It's Egypt 63, Mozambique 50 at the end of the third. A little bit of a scoring run has seen Mozambique close the gap to 13 here, as we see the shooting percentages when they have decided to take shots on, which thankfully has been a little more often in the second half. Both shooting very well inside, but throwing up plenty of air balls and balls off the top of the backboard from three-point range, and playing with a really low intensity. Clearly neither team wants to win and go on to face Mali in the quarterfinals in a couple of days' time. How would you feel in these circumstances as a player, Teresa? You talked a little bit about it in the third quarter. It's difficult to go against the coach, isn't it?
I think I won't give you a clear answer at this question because it's so hard. As I said, I'm pretty sure that all the players are battling a little war inside of them because they all have values of being a basketball player. They know what the fair play game is as well. And to get into that situation, you have to follow the coaching staff instructions, but as well as a player, it's just difficult to say, you know, because I'm not in the same position as they are, but and I've never been, to be honest, even though I played loads of national team games. But I'm pretty sure players are not happy with that because it just goes against their beliefs of basketball.
Kossa around to the corner. Halar. Kossa to the far side. They step in towards the low post. Back to Halar. Air ball. Rima Sama called for a travel. You don't get to this level as a professional sports person without having that will and desire to win.
Exactly. It's just really specific situation because you have to be on the same page. You have to trust coach if you want to succeed at this big tournament. And even though there are probably players who doesn't follow the way of this game today, they still have to play like that. And I think they will all want to forget today's game and just focus on the next stage of this tournament because really this is nothing to remember. That's completely a unique situation for a player to face. And as I said, I believe that there's been loads of mini wars inside of every player. Not probably every, but most of the players who has the correct values of basketball life. You know, you just don't want to play that acting game.
Dong onto Kossa, around to the corner now to Halar. There's a steal. Abdel Gawad down the floor, puts it in with the contact. Chance at a three-point play for her, and Egypt way out in front again.
Yeah, because back to those values, you're building them basically since you start to play basketball. You're building the values of a fair play. You're building that commitment, that sense of competition as well. And then it comes to the point when you at the biggest tournament you can be almost for your nation, and everything goes against these values, and it's just not an easy situation for probably most of the players.
Pereira on by Pinto, the 17-year-old, to Kossa. Kossa to Dong. Pinto's calling for it far side. It goes inside instead, though. She wanted to grab the rebound, Pinto, and then she wants the steal as well. Great to see her playing with intensity.
And you know, it's not good for the players like Pinto. She's 17 years old, and she sees she's coming to the senior level, and she sees this type of game. That doesn't give her a good example, good leadership example from the senior basketball to see that this is happening on the level like this. So I think there's been quite few young players at this tournament, and they all will be fully aware of this game. And it doesn't send a right message to these players that you should be calculating like this while you should be 100% competitive.
Interesting point, actually, because the margin now is up at 20, which we know Mozambique aren't going to claw back. And it's actually the first time that the coach from Mozambique has put Pinto in the game, and she's usually played a lot more minutes, so he's aware of that. Perhaps he doesn't want her involved in that kind of a game.
Yeah, that's a good point for him, you know, but the question is this good point like creditable to him while he allows his team to play like this at this game? So the question is there, and there's probably loads of questions FIBA should ask, because as we already mentioned many times, this is not the game. It should happen in a level like this.
Mai Halwa for 3. Dong the rebound. Halwa trying to intercept, misses though, and Mozambique have 3-on-2 opportunity here. Foot on the line though, as they catch the loose ball. Fear not, there will be much more competitive games on this court today to finish off the group stage. Although perhaps not next. Central African Republic up against Angola. I'm sure the Central Africans will try, but Angola surely will finish the group 5-0. And Tunisia, Ivory Coast to follow that. And then we finish this evening with the host Mali against Cameroon. Should be a good one with a good atmosphere. And then after that, really good game, Senegal against Nigeria. So we do look forward to those after this one is finally done and dusted.
In terms of that game, Angola against Central African Republic, it will be interesting to see if Central African Republic's team is going to contribute the same way and put the impressive performance on against one of the favorites, as they did yesterday against Mali. There's been more players contributing, supporting their key player Kossi. And for Angolan team, it will be as well interesting to see how much the coach is going to manage his players' minutes, because no one wants to get injured in this game, and at the same time you want to keep them in the game rhythm. So we will probably see some strategic moves from Angolan coach.
Angola looking to finish with 5 wins from 5, top of Group A, although they already have that top spot locked up, and will face Mozambique now, who are going to lose this game in the quarterfinals. Then it's going to be Egypt against Mali. And that last game on court today, it's a case of the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. Nigeria and Senegal, both 4-0 so far, so they will play off for top spot in Group B.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that game won't be anything similar to this game, because both teams wants to finish first in the group, so we will probably witness a really decent game.
And whoever finishes top in Group B will likely face the Central African Republic, and I beg your pardon, the Ivory Coast or Cameroon, and then a big game to decide who goes into the quarterfinals as well in Group A. Tunisia are on the brink, 5th at the moment, facing the Ivory Coast, who are 4th. Both teams desperate to lock up that 4th spot, make it through to the final 8. "17 points the difference now, 6 minutes and 19 seconds remaining before those questions start to be asked of these two teams, if they're not being asked already.
Back to this game, I think now we will see the best part of the game almost, because it's 6 minutes to go. The margin is 17 points, if I'm counting well and having good math. And I think now the players know that there's enough space and enough time for them to at least give a couple good offenses and defenses.
I said at the start of the half, it started as a game, then became a training session, and then became a disgrace. Well, maybe it can at least become a training session again now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Tim.
Sarai Dekadi hands the ball off, gets it back from Abdel Gawad to the corner to Rima Sama. Sarai Dekadi across to Abdel Gawad. Some good ball movement from Egypt, who won't go down for Halwa. Kossa, Pinto, and then Moyanga in towards Pinto, who turns and misses the shot. Sarai Dekadi.
Great pass. Oh.
Highlight reel assist almost for Soraya. That's what she's capable of.
Yeah, we've seen these smart passes from Delgado already in yesterday's game. She really reads the defense well and trying to fake the defender by her face that she's not even looking at that pass. Great read. That just shows the player is very experienced and very capable, because Delgado, you can see that she thinks one step ahead before she does things. She knows exactly why she's doing any move of her body on the court, and that makes good players good players.
Because of how this game has been played out, we have had plenty of stoppages. The FIBA commissioner is sending another message to the two benches right now and to the officials. 15 points the gap with 5.5 minutes to play. Now the officials relaying that message. We saw a really long delay at half-time. A half-time break that lasted perhaps 25 minutes because of the messages that needed to be communicated. We've had a couple more stoppages on timeouts, and now at this point with 5.5 to play.
I think the Mozambique coach has just received a warning from officials. Official warning, that's what probably commissioner has communicated with the officials.
Foul shot missed by Hala Al-Shawi. Had a good, well-rounded contribution across the first 3 games, but didn't have much impact against Senegal yesterday. The disappointing thing for the benches as well, if they were allowed to go and play, is that there'd be players on the bench who would want to make an impression and play for minutes in the knockout stages.
And maybe even give any points, at this tournament, because there are players who haven't scored at this tournament yet. And as I say, in career of every player, it's just a dream to play on the international level for your national team. And as we already said, that's just a complete wrong message sent, first of all, to young players, and must be an awkward situation for many of the players.
That one doesn't bounce down, and there is a bit of disappointment for Remo Sama that it didn't go in. You talk about the message it sends to young players, Teresa. We haven't mentioned yet that Egypt are the youngest team at the tournament, have plenty of those young players.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I said I'm pretty sure that not all players agrees with that, which Delgado Soraya might have proved a bit in this game, even though apologizing for made shot is for me a terrible sign. But yeah, you're right, it's the youngest team, and I don't think that's any beneficial to this team to play these type of games.
I don't have the official stat, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mozambique weren't the second youngest team as well. They've got a 17-year-old in Pinto, Lavangan just 19, Muku Bakin 20. And Shawe with a missed free throw again.
And I think that could be a great experience as well for officials, because I'm pretty sure that they have never experienced this as well. Not only players, not only coaches, but not even the officials. And I'm pretty sure that they will evaluate this game from their point of view as well. And if that ever happens again, they will know how to deal with the situation.
Here's the drive, knocked away by El-Shawi. Hawa. Across to Soraya Dekadi. El-Shawi again to Soraya. Turned over. I tell you who else won't have dealt with this situation is the guys who are making the 2-minute highlights for FIBA.com, so good luck to them.
Yeah, I really want to see the highlights of this game, to be honest, but I think we all respect this competition, and we will find those moments or the people who's creating the highlights gonna find the moment who sends the message to people who really understands the basketball like the right way. Because there have been a couple good actions in this game, offensively and defensively, before it has become a game like that. And that's
Soraya
one of them.
Dekadi providing one of the moments of the game, the assist from her. We've seen what Soraya Dekadi can do in isolation on a few occasions, her shooting range and her passing, and that was one of the best assists from her so far. Final 4 minutes, Egypt by 16 points. Abdel Gawad off the mark, grabbed by Seda, and here come Mozambique. It's Ventura, who misses from the outside, offensive rebound, put back up and in by Mafanella.
Exactly, now prove my words that the most interesting minutes in this game is gonna be the first minutes and the last 3 minutes of the game, because now the gap is too high to decrease the margin in the score, and both teams gonna get what they wanted, or at least the Mozambique team does.
Foul as that falls for Rima Sama. Sama out the stripe for the and one, misses it, gets it back. Soraya Dekadi, 10 seconds to work with on the shot clock. Abdel Gawad, pass back out, Sharif, nice ball movement, open, long two, wouldn't go down.
It's been a good read now from Hala Shrabi, just to pass the extra pass for her open teammate.
There's Rima Sama quickly down the floor to Abdel Gawad, the three, good for her.
And that's the game of Egypt. They just grab quick rebound or a quick steal. They play quick transition offense, and now we're witnessing offensively the Egypt we know at this tournament.
We've got a timeout with 2 minutes and 19 seconds to play here in the second game out of 6 on court on the final day of the group stage. Now the Women's AfroBasket 2017 in Bamako, and Egypt lead by 19 now, 82-63.
Não importa o que estamos a jogar, se os extremos chegam, vão cruzar dentro. Do homem a homem dentro, tá? Joga flash, tá? Com duplo bloqueio. Atenção, dois cá fora, tá? Este corte posto baixo, assim, tá? Posso estar por aqui e flash dentro. Vamos mudar a bola, encontrar um posto baixo, tá? Posto dentro, mude a bola. 3 atiradores de campo, tá? Esquina, esquina, esquina. Aquilo, vamos.
2 minutes and 19 to play as we come back off the timeout. In terms of the overall records, Egypt will go to 3-2 and respond to back-to-back defeats. And Mozambique will fall to 2-3 and have their 2-game winning streak snapped, although they'll be pretty happy for that, because they get the draw that they wanted in the quarterfinals. Soraya Dekadi at the line is still the leading scorer in the game. and now has 16. Pereira. Saved on the baseline by Ehab. Soraya pushes the ball quickly down the floor. Nice move, hitting down the baseline for El Shaarawy. Knocked away by El Shaarawy on the defensive end as well. Talk about Soraya Dakadi as the leading scorer with 16. I think she had double figures, didn't she, in the first? It might have been another 30-plus point game for her if they'd have been allowed to play.
Yeah, absolutely. She's the best player of Egyptian team, I would say, because she just plays very smart. She's able to create for herself, and she makes her teammates better as well. And that's really good role for a point guard of any team.
Seda to Mukubaki. Long three for Ventura. Rebound Osama. Here is Soraya Dakadi looking to go to work again to the foul line. No look pass underneath. Turnaround shot wouldn't fall. Here goes Mukubaki. It's going to be a long two if it goes down, and it does for Elizabeth Pereira. What you see about Soraya Dakadi when she plays those kind of passes as well is she just looks like a player that enjoys playing the game so much.
Exactly, and that's what the basketball is about. We should not forget that it's still a game, right? Basketball is a game, and players should enjoy playing, and there's still quite a lot of players who forget the fact that it is a game and they should be enjoying. For whatever reason, it could be a big pressure on them or anything, but it's nice to see a player like Soraya, how much she's enjoying this game. It's similar like Serbian Teodosic, right? His passes are incredible as well, and you can see how much fun he has to deliver these passes. And that's a similar example. Soraya is really enjoying herself, serving to her teammates as well.
Chance at a three-point play here as Mana Ehab gets through the defense. We're into the final minute, 44 seconds remaining. Egypt up by 20 after the three-point play. Foul shots here for Ventura, who finally hit a three a few moments ago.
Talking about Ventura, when she took that long three, no one can say pretty much nothing, because we've seen that similar long threes from her during whole championship. So that probably has been her intentional shot, what she would have used normally.
Ehab, Osama, poised in the paint to finish overhead. You're seeing a bit of the ability now that these players do have. Ventura, there's one of those long threes, short, right on cue. Rebound Mafanella. Mukubaki, then down the baseline goes Pereira, but turns it over. She had a heel on the line. Shot clock turned off at the end of a rather extraordinary game. Soraya Dakadi. One final chance for Mozambique. And Ventura may be in the corner, but she can't handle it. 4.4 remaining.
Yeah, Kela Mukubaki didn't like that move, because she said to Ventura, why you didn't cut to the basket, because we were 2-on-1. And that's the overloading situation, but I think Ventura just wanted to shoot the three. But I think that was a little bit over-combinated now from Ventura.
And you might wonder why there's a timeout with a 21-point difference in a game that neither team have wanted to win with 4.4 seconds to go, but now, of course, it becomes a decent training exercise.
Yeah, and that's what we predicted already within the whole game when we were reacting to the situations we've seen at this game. The best part was the first couple of minutes of the game and last couple of minutes when the score and the tone of this game has been set already, and the winners and losers has been defined. So Yeah, it's a good practice now, but I'm not pretty sure. I'm a little bit worried. So no one gets the injury in this last couple of minutes when the players are not ready in their heads anymore. So thankfully it hasn't happened. We still have 4.5 seconds to go.
I don't know if they might face a situation like this in a game that's more meaningful to them, so they'll see what they can do in the final seconds. And it turns into an air ball. And there's the final buzzer. The picture partly painted for the quarterfinals, but by a rather ugly artist here. Egypt win it by 21, 91 to 70, and they go to 3-2 in the group. They will face Mali in the quarterfinals. Mozambique will face Angola, which is quite plain to see the draw that they wanted.
How to resume this game? That has been game no one ever wishes to witness at a level like this on the international competition AfroBasket women. None of the team wanted to grab the win. If I would say that way, Egypt hasn't managed their scoring early in this game enough to be down in this game. I can't just believe I'm saying it, but you know that's the fact. So Egypt had to take a win in this game, and will face home team Mali in the knockout stage. I hope that people will learn out of it, and we won't see it anymore at this stage and at this level of basketball.
We see a whole heap of turnovers, especially from Mozambique. As we look at the game leaders, 2 players on 16 for Egypt, Osama and Soraya Degadi. We'll see them here. Al Sharway also the 3rd player into double figures with 11. There were 4 in double figures in the end for Mozambique, led by the 13 points of Dong, 11 for Ventura, and then a couple on 10 as well. This one has finished Egypt 91, Mozambique 70, and the group stage is over for these two nations. They both move into the quarterfinals.